Hey, buddy.
Morning, Kelly.
Good morning.
What a great morning it is.
Happy November.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah.
Halloween, October 31st. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Pretty wholesome. We are continuing the trend of, that was a nice mild summer, but now it's like continuing into November.
This is an oppressively hot fall, I guess is maybe how you could look at it. It's too much. But it's supposed to cool down this coming week, I think. I think after tomorrow we're not supposed to hit 80 for the next 10 days.
Let's go.
I mean, we're going to get close. A bunch of 79s, but...
I'm reminded of a skit or clip or something this one guy did talking about there's a film festival in Europe, and if you named like the big three, it's one of those, but I forget what it is. But when you go to the screening of the videos or the screening of the movies, like the whole cast and production team is there, so it's routine. It is normalized for folks to have like standing ovations that go 8, 10, 12, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And the guy has like the video playing over his shoulder of like an 11-minute standing ovation that's about to start. And he's like, imagine the horror. The movie ends, it was okay. And everybody around you stands up and starts applauding. And it goes on for 30 seconds. And then a minute. And then another minute. And you're like, fear of what is happening to everybody around you. That's what I'm thinking of when the same temperature basically just keeps going. You're like, how much longer is everything okay? Everything's not okay. This is scary.
Just for fun, I just Googled what the longest standing ovation at Cannes.
Okay, that's probably what it was, yeah.
Pan's Labyrinth in 2006 got a 22-minute ovation.
If you didn't
know... A whole
know,
TV shows where they just applaud.
If you didn't know, wouldn't it be, you'd be like looking left and right, like, just like sort of clapping? Like, when would your enthusiasm for clapping ending? Like, well, before 22 minutes. And you just see people keep doing it, and you're like, what is happening?
I don't know, maybe they're all on a lot of drugs or something.
Have you ever seen... it's cool if not, but people that are into, like, history and stuff, Saddam Hussein, he used to do these, let's get the party together and talk about what's going on. And he was such a dictator that, like, that was a routine thing that would happen, is he'd make some benign statement and everybody would just start clapping in approval, and then the ones that didn't were like, get him out of here. That's what it made me think of too, which makes me think of these temperatures. Anyways.
Yeah, but at least it's not 90.
Yeah.
And it rained for like a whole minute yesterday. For the first time in months.
Before we came over, I was in the living room, and where I sit on the couch was right next to the fireplace, and it was just all of a sudden just like
like,
yep.
Jared and I were literally sitting here in these chairs watching something on TV yesterday, and like all of a sudden it went from 0 to like full blast. I don't know if it was like a micro burst or whatever, but like I legit got scared for a couple seconds. Like I hadn't heard hard rain in so long. I was just like, and it was so sudden. I was like, what the heck is going on? And then I looked outside and I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? Is that fog? No. Fog doesn't make noise. I was like, oh, it's the water that comes from the sky.
I know exactly what you're talking about, of the startling suddenness of it.
Mm-hmm.
I love that we live like so close to each other now.
Yeah. It is really funny though, because sometimes we'll be like, yeah, it's raining over here, and you're like, no, it's not here, and it's just like, basically throw a rock from our house to yours.
Yeah. But definitely like every lightning, anytime there's like strong wind, I'll be like, ooh, strong wind. You'll be like, oh, strong wind.
It was funny. I was actually thinking about you and our proximity yesterday morning, because when I got up in the morning and I was sitting out on the back porch, I definitely could hear a drum lining somewhere. And I was like, I wonder if Nick could hear that. And I'm like wondering, where is it coming from? Like the closest school, I guess, is that school on Piccadilly, but
Yeah.
they wouldn't have a marching band.
No, it's like an elementary school.
So, like, I'm wondering, maybe there's like a contest in the area and like someone was using that field to warm up? Or was it coming all the way from...
Pflugerfield?
Yeah, which that seems like a lot. Like a far distance.
Definitely there were people at Pflugerfield all day yesterday.
Like let's measure the distance from here to Pflugerfield in a straight line.
As the crow flies, as they say. You gotta bet over under. Don't look at the scale.
I mean, it says 500 feet, so that does nothing for me.
Right.
3.6 miles.
I'll say under that.
Hmm. 2.05.
Nice. Wow. Yeah, I did figure it was 2 miles.
But still, hearing stuff 2 miles away, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. We're probably like almost exactly halfway between you and that.
No, you're closer to that. You're here.
We are pretty close to it, which I love.
Yeah, you're only 3,850 feet away from it.
Not even a mile. I like, we'll go down the street, we'll cross the street that we crossed, and then get into the community center field trail area, because there's like there's two places that you can go off trail and like right to the creek.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go in there to see birds, and there's like not a waterfall, but like a water feature that's in there. And this time of year, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we can walk over there doing that and hear band stuff, football stuff. It's nice. Like it a lot. Love our little neighborhood.
It's not bad. I was not mad at it, but I was like, usually when I hear that, it's colder out,
Sure.
so a little bummed. But you know, 'tis what it is. So what else is going on?
Smoking a brisket right now.
Oh wow.
I've got the ring on it while Ash sleeps. Ash is the emergency person. She doesn't know it. If I see anything going wrong, I can ring her up.
Hey Ash, I don't want to worry you, but there's a fire on the back patio. Can you go take a look at it?
But it's never had an issue with it. It's pretty. It's actually pretty. It's not on the patio even, but I just love the Traeger. Love doing a brisket. I'm gonna have some tasty treats later. Looking forward to that. Haven't been awake very long, but I also, whenever the Cowboys play at noon, I don't like to take in any calories, or I like to do a lot of. I'll clip my nails. I'll shave. I'll take a shower. I like to just be kind of empty and pure, you know. I want the first calories I take in to be the cowboy shot that we do, the ritual shot before the game. And then 3 hours after kickoff, we've got our mid-season recap, mid-season review to do with whoever gets on the Zoom, which will probably just be Corey and Jamie.
Yeah.
No, probably Tony. Tony said that he wanted to.
Yeah.
He had a lot of photos of the duck.
Yeah.
And I was like, save it for the recap. And he's like, noted.
Yeah, that should be pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I don't know. Talked about last night and Halloween and voting. That's what I got.
Yeah, I mean...
Did I do last night first or Halloween first?
I mean, we can go in chronological order.
We have early voting that ended Friday, I think.
Yeah.
and it went last week and this week that we just finished. And Ash and I just were looking at, we couldn't do it the first week because of whatever, and the second week we were like, all right, Thursday. And then when we said Thursday, we didn't realize it was like Halloween. Ash and I from Schitt's Creek, beloved family-friendly show, Schitt's Creek. Moira, the mother actress, whenever in the show she does this, she leaves for a bit to go shoot The Crows Have Eyes 3, the crow ending.
Yeah.
And that was the inspiration for Ashley's costume. And mine. I just got bird pajamas. It was a crow. And good photos came out of that. Love doing Halloween with Ash because she really gets into it. And maybe not 50 kids, but a lot of kids came. I saw a lot of posts, especially in Austin, that was like, no trick-or-treaters this year. It was like just a full bucket of candy, and nobody came. It was like, seems like you didn't advertise well enough in the week leading up to that you're a house to come get candy from.
I mean, how does one do that? I guess decorate?
Put up lights, yeah.
I mean, we didn't decorate, and we probably got more trick-or-treaters this year than we've ever had in this house.
You're doing something right. And those people on Reddit are doing something wrong.
Maybe it was the pumpkin I had last year that I carved. Because the pumpkins we carved this year didn't make it to actual Halloween.
That
last
was terrible.
year was probably the best pumpkin I ever carved, and that made it out there. But either way, but it was weird because for us here, we don't actually go and answer the door. We just leave a bucket of candy out, and we just go refill the bucket as needed.
Yeah.
Never put too much in there that like one kid gets all of our candy. They're a little dick. But so we put our bucket out and turned our porch light on at like 6. And between like 6 and 7, we had maybe 2 trick-or-treaters. So we were like, is this going to be like the slowest year ever? But then like from 7 to 8:30, it was just almost like constant.
Nice.
I think it got to the point like we bought like 3 big old bags of candy, and usually what Jerry and I do is we'll take one of each type of candy out of each bag and keep it for ourselves.
Yeah.
And then the rest is going to go to them, for the kids. And I think all the candy we had left after we took for ourselves got taken except for like maybe 5 or 6 pieces of candy.
Wow.
Which we've never had that little of leftover candy, I think. So it was pretty good. I mean, I felt kind of creepy, but it was also like I was looking like at the Ring camera every time to like look at all their costumes, and felt a little weird just like looking at them. But
similar to like I'm watching the Smoker now, we had so we also bought 3 bags of candy. I bought them at like the end of July when they first went on sale at Costco because they were all like explicitly Halloween branded candies. It wasn't like here's miniature candies, but it was like the Reese's, these are ghost shapes, and these Twix are orange and that kind of stuff. And then we also mixed in, since July, bought Ash a bunch of fruit snacks, and she was like, I prefer these other fruit snacks, because she was like trying out like which fruit snacks are gonna be like the gym's fruit snacks. So they're like 2 boxes of fruit snacks that we just like mixed in as well, which I made sure no kid ever got like 2 fruit snacks and 1 candy. It was always like 2 candies, 1 fruit snack, because I didn't want them to feel bullied. But similarly, just had the Ring on the phone on a stand like it is now, and we're just watching the football game and hanging out, and then you'd see the flashlights bouncing or whatever on the way to the door, and that's how I knew to get up and all that. I don't think there's anything weird about it. I like this cameras, closed circuit television, because it's literally the opposite of that.
right.
But yeah, I like being able to see out the front door and the back door. I think it's cool.
For sure. Technology's pretty neat.
Kids loved that we answered the door in costume as well. And most of the kids, there were like 3 kids that were 3 or something, like very, very small, very, very dumb. Mm-hmm. Like one came into our house a little bit, which happens every year, where you want to give them candy, you want to hear them say trick or treat, and they just look at you all dumbfounded, and then like hands out just come into the house. You're like, no. You're doing it wrong. Say trick or treat. Here you go. And they're like, oh yeah. And they like, programming kicks back in. You ever seen that? You know what I'm talking about? The confused kid?
Not really. I mean, I haven't had much involvement with really young kids.
Okay. Well, I mean, like when you're answering the door for trick or treat, you never had like a kid try and come into the house?
I don't answer the door for trick or treat.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, that'll happen.
Yeah, see, that would not be okay here. It's not a kid-friendly house.
Yeah. That was fun. I think my favorite part was in those situations where the 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids like come in a group of 4 and you give them the candy and they go on their way. You see the parent on the sidewalk and you get to wave at them. I like that part because it's like, this is a safe house, safe community, and you get to like build bonds. It's like, I think that's the most time you see any of like your neighbors or anything, and it's not even to talk to them, it's just like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Although, you know who was a really good neighbor and everybody liked a lot?
Ted Bundy. Who?
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Okay.
But no, I totally get what you're saying. Yeah. One thing I will note that, like, I was just monitoring the Ring camera during the whole thing, and I was surprised at, like, how respectful most of the kids were. Like, like, I could hear them talking and stuff through the ring, too, like, when they came up, and there was, like, these 2 girls. My judge of age is, like, they look definitely older, like, maybe even, like, 10, 11, 12. But they both, like, walk up and they're looking into the bucket, and there's, like, a ton of candy in the bucket. And, not, like, the worst candy we give out is, like, Milk Duds.
Yeah.
Like, that's the bottom. Like, we put out the good stuff.
Some kids love Milk Dud. I love Milk Dud.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's okay to love Milk Duds, but we had that plus everything better. And they, like, took the, like, they were, like, debating back and forth which singular piece of candy they were going to take.
Aww.
And one girl was like, I'm going to take a Twix. No, wait, I think I want a Kit Kat. She put Twix down, took one Kit Kat, and then left. And I was like, you can take more than one, but, I mean, that's made me feel a little bit better about this upcoming group of little humans.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And we didn't have anybody just, like, empty the bowl either this year, which I think each year we have at least one bowl emptier. But no one even took, like, too much. Like, there's been times, like, we filled up the bowl and one group would come and, like, all but 2 pieces will be left. Like, they think they're not taking it all, they're leaving a little bit. But none of that this year.
I think it was 2 years ago. I had to be in DC on Halloween. And I remember watching on the, similar as I am now, and as we were yesterday, just watching on the, or as we were this Halloween, watching on the Ring, and seeing the 2 princess girls that took all of our candy. They're 2 years older now. There's no telling what they look like now.
Right. Yeah.
But I would give them a stern finger point.
Good fish shake.
Yeah.
I got a mask this year.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun.
Oh, yeah. You got on Zoom with it?
Yeah, I got with my work people. I would have, like, bet a good amount of money that, like, I wasn't the only person to think to, like, dress up for that meeting.
Yeah.
Because it's on Halloween, and it wasn't a serious meeting. It was just a normal kind of thing internally. But one thing I do really appreciate about my team and everyone I work with is, like, 99.9% of the time, unless it's, like, something real serious is going on, like, we're all a cameras off team.
Yeah.
So, like, my hair is always a mess and it just doesn't matter because it's never on camera. And the meeting started and everybody was off camera, so I was like, okay, maybe we're not doing, not a ton of people are doing costumes, or maybe they're just waiting for the end. And like, I was already in this mask and it was just like hot and hard to breathe. And I had my headset on in the mask so I could hear the meeting and have my microphone. It was supposed to be a 30-minute meeting and it ended up being like a 55-minute meeting.
Yeah.
And like, well past our scheduled end time, like a couple people had to drop because they had other calls to get on. And I was like, well, we're not talking about anything super serious. I'm just going to go on camera and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I went on camera and...
immediate distraction?
Yeah, one guy was like, what Kelly? And then everybody noticed it, and I was like, oh my gosh. And my boss just, she couldn't even. It was hilarious.
Was anybody like...
A little bit. I mean, it's not like, so the mask, it's a bear head.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think it was that creepy, but a lot of people ended up telling me it looked pretty creepy.
It doesn't blink.
I mean, it is a very, like, it's one of those pretty realistic yet super lifeless masks. And I don't know. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But then, and then I guess Jared decided he was going to dress up for Halloween as Alfred Şengün from the Rockets, which basically meant he was just put on his jersey.
Yeah.
But we got a picture of me and my mask and him in his jersey. So this was like the first time we quasi dressed up.
Oh.
Like, maybe ever.
Very nice.
So. Yeah, so anybody listening, we're trialing some soundboard action. So, things may get a little silly here.
That's my favorite one. I gotta figure that one out. I gotta fit it in somehow. Yeah. You sent us that picture. We sent you our picture.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
But then the Texans lost, so that sucked. But I have a theory.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah.
All my teams have to lose this week.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Before leaving the Halloween chat, my boss, I meet with her every Thursday morning, and I thought she might do Halloween something.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my costume ready. Like, I had it on. It's a, onesie pajama thing. So I had my legs in it, and had my, polo shirt, and on the Zoom, or Teams is what it really is, but on the video call, I just had it all the way up to, right below my chest, basically, so that I could put my arms in, and then put the hoodie part over, which is like a bird beak or whatever.
Yeah.
But then when she came on camera, she had changed her background, but everything else was normal.
Mm-hmm.
So we do our 30, 40 minutes of updates and Q&A, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, she's like, anything else going on? And I was like, Ash and I are probably going to go vote right after this. And she was like, what about Halloween? And I was like, well, since you asked, just for you. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And she was like, I was like, have you seen Schitt's Creek? And she was like, yeah, I love it. And I was like, remember Moira does a bird movie? And she was like, yeah. I was like, Ash is going to be Moira and I'm one of her birds. One of her crows. And she liked that. Actually, I forgot that Wednesday prior to that, we had our office Halloween party.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it was a bake sale fundraiser. And I made my gluten-free, dairy-free chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah.
And brought those down to the office. There's some funny stuff I don't think it would matter. Or that people would care. But we've got... most people work remotely, but we got a whole floor that we have cubicles and stuff in. And the folks that have to be there, they've got offices. Everybody else has cubicles and might use them once a month.
Right.
If ever. And I I don't like to say names on here, but one of the people, she's super cool. She talks about her kids all the time. We're supposed to have a Thanksgiving party at her house, but her family stuff is keeping that from happening. And I brought my laptop in case I had to do any work. And when I was looking for a place to take my laptop, the office that was open last time wasn't. So I was just looking at all the cubicles, like who's not going to be here or who's chill, where can I dump this? And then I saw that they had a cubicle, and I was like, oh, easy peasy. Put my laptop in there. And then I had taken the cookies in our Halloween bucket that we put candy in. Mm-hmm. And when I first came in, I also had to like swap my phone. There was like a tech refresh thing going on. Mm-hmm. So I gave the cookies to another team member, and then I went and did the phone swap. I cookies to that person, drop off the laptop in the other person's cubicle, go do the phone swap. And do the phone swap, it takes like 30 minutes. First text message or Teams message that I get when my phone turns on is the person I gave the cookies to saying, I put your bucket, the Halloween bucket, in so-and-so's cubicle. And I was like, that's funny because I put my laptop case in there. And then I go down to the fundraiser and that person is whose cubicle we're just dumping our stuff in was there, and she was like, hey, guess what, guys? I got a new laptop. I got an adorable Halloween bucket. And I was like, I need both of those bags. And she was like, no. They didn't ask her or nothing. I didn't even know she was going to be in the building because it's more likely than not that she wasn't going to be.
Right.
So that was fun. I really like my team because it is like super wholesome and a bunch of moms, and the other dude like lives in Houston, and I don't want to say he's a curmudgeon because he is like nice and he's been opening up, but on the spectrum of like friendly, bubbly, let's have a party at my house, he's on the distant end. And I don't want to have parties at my house, but there's 4 other women that comprise the team, and the 3 women that I'm talking about, they are very much like the talk about their kids, let's have a party at my house, and just very wholesome conversations all the time, which is very much what I love and enjoy, because in tech sales and in the military, you like your team is what your team is, and this is definitely the most wholesome team I've been on as far as caring about each other and a bunch of other metrics. Very happy with the team. Had a good time at the fundraiser. It was supposed to be a jack-o'-lantern competition, and we did our jack-o'-lanterns last Friday. And by Wednesday morning, when the party was, like my Mudang had collapsed in on itself. Yeah. From just like rotting. Our neighbor actually texted us, oh no, did somebody smash your pumpkins? And it wasn't that, it's just that they were on our front patio bench and had rotted to a point where they just rolled off the bench. So that was funny. That was Wednesday, Thursday, Halloween, and then Ashton and I went and voted on Thursday, same place as you guys, like not the closest thing to us at all, on the Travis County polling times map or whatever. On election day, I know there'll be a bunch of polling sites, but in Pflugerville, where we are, there's only 2, the Typhoon, Texas, and the Rock Gym. And the Rock Gym is where we like to vote because it's like 3 minutes from our house. Right. But on the wait times map for Travis County, those 2 are always yellow and red, if not both red. Right. Yeah. So we took a little drive, but then we were in and out in no time, but we didn't get stickers.
Yeah, that's one thing about waiting that long to vote is you might not get a sticker.
Yeah. Another the kids are alright thing, though, is we went and we finished, we got in the car, and school was getting out. And this place where we voted is like the Performing Arts Center across the street from the high school. Right. And we had to wait for kids to go by. There was like a cop policing traffic, and just seeing all the kids, all the high schoolers. They seemed nice to each other and not insano.
I mean, that's good that you didn't notice anything there, but I think in that brief moment, I don't know if you could gather enough data
Sure.
to really come to that conclusion.
That was actually a nice conclusion, though. Leaving the parking lot, having voted, and having to wait on kids, you're like, oh, look at how thoroughly normal all these children look. Good for them.
Yeah.
So Halloween, yeah, Texans lost, which is unfortunate. Friday, there's some fun work stuff, but doesn't need to be discussed here. And then yesterday we hung out.
Yeah.
We did the Jer photo recap of his, 7-day, 10-day.
10-day cruise.
Yeah.
European cruise. Yeah, that took a lot longer than I thought it would.
It's pretty dope for a guy that loved art history, AP art history in high school.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really cool. I didn't dislike any of his presentation, but could have been a little more organized, but...
It seemed like it got auto-disorganized by the algorithm or whatever.
Yeah.
Did it make you want to cruise more?
I mean, it definitely makes me want to travel more.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe cruise is the right way to do it. I don't know if I like cruising or not yet. But I will find out here in a little over 2 months when I go on my cruise with my brother.
Word.
But, yeah, I mean, at one point before Jared went on, after I knew he was going on that cruise, I was like, there was definitely times I was like, man, I wish I was going too. That sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But then after seeing all the pictures and stuff, yeah, those are places I'd want to see eventually, but, they're not at the top of my list.
Mm.
They're not my number one, let's go see it first, in case this is the only chance I get to go see anything. Those wouldn't be the places I'd want to go.
What are, 2 places in your top 10?
2 places? I mean, I'll give you 4.
Uh-huh.
I mean, UK, just all of it. I've always wanted to go there. Mm-hmm. And even as I've gotten older, it's not as much because I've gotten more of just the views and what's there to see. And there's not a lot to actually see.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to be immersed in all the accents. Ireland, Germany, and Switzerland.
Just the whole nations?
I mean, specifically, Ireland is, the size of Houston, so we can say the whole nation for that. Germany, well, we can go to UK. I mean, London, just because that's where, a lot of the famous stuff is. I'd like to check out, a non-London place, maybe, Manchester or somewhere more up north.
Mm-hmm.
Scotland, Edinburgh, seems pretty awesome.
I'd want to go during that, there's a big famous, comedy festival they have there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's probably what'll get me there one day.
And then, Germany, the Bavarian region,
mm-hmm.
specifically. I don't really care about, Berlin and the North Germany. It's all about the south, closer to the Alps.
Mm-hmm.
And then Switzerland, specifically Lauterbrunnen.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I think that might be the most beautiful place on earth.
Would you ever train through them, or do you want to walk around?
I would love to train through them. I think a super fun trip for me would be flying into Munich,
mm-hmm.
and then spending a couple days around there, and then just start taking the train down through Switzerland, into Switzerland and Austria, and maybe even end it in Florence, northern Italy.
Yeah.
I think that would be an amazing trip for me.
I think that's the move. Yeah, 'cause they do love their trains there.
Yeah, And plus, I watch a lot of videos about trains and stuff, and
Yeah.
like the older I've gotten, the more like that kind of like seems really cool for me. It's just like you get to see so much, but it's still really chill.
You know about that coast to coast, the Zephyr?
Oh yeah.
Thought about it. Thinking about it.
What's ridiculous though is just how expensive those are.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the California Zephyr, which I think technically is just from
To Chicago.
Yeah. And then actually it was literally just yesterday or the day before I was watching this video of the 10 best train routes in North America.
Okay.
And that was number one. There's another one that goes up from like I think San Francisco to like Seattle, which seems really cool. Like there's a lot like right along the Pacific coast and whatnot. Yeah, there's a few others that just seem pretty legit.
Do trains cross international borders? Like, could you take a train from LA to like Banff?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't think here. In Europe, absolutely, trains cross borders all over the place.
Uh-huh.
I don't think so. I think you'd have to like get off and like cross the border and then get on, which I'm sure you could do. Like, take what's the city that's just
Near Banff?
No, I was thinking about going up from like Seattle to Vancouver, and I was trying to think of that city that's like right, the American city that's right on the border of Canada, right in Washington, and then Vancouver to Banff. I don't remember which one it is, but there was one train trip that I saw in that video, which I think it was the longest trip in North America, which was from Toronto to Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
So basically the whole almost coast to coast in Canada. And that like went through like Banff and then through the
Rockies.
The Rockies and stuff, and then ends up in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
And that looked just absolutely stunning. Oh man.
Yeah, I'd like to do some train riding, but then Jared's cruising. The photos, there was like a lot of boxes checked on like the top 100 of Western art history,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool. And then like places of interest, like architecturally, and how Islam influenced southern Spain, and then like the distinct French styles, like through different generations of we're building them angular now, we're adding round, and how like literally like going through history all the way to like the Parthenon, the scale of these things.
Mm-hmm.
In a time like the Parthenon was like 125 AD, so like damn near 2,000 years ago. And I made this comment to where like if you're just a dude in like even today most people will live and die in most people will die close to where they were born, basically.
Mm-hmm.
If I was born in Texas, lived most of my life in Texas, and died in Texas, that would not be abnormal by any means.
Right.
So there's so many people that wherever they are, their biggest building is whatever it is. They take a trip to Rome for the first time, and they're like, look at all these big buildings. And then you see the Parthenon, which is like a big building among big buildings. Mm. And you're like, I didn't know we could do this. I didn't know people could do this. And you get that, like, after the fall of the Roman Empire, and, like, what people call the Dark Ages, where folks are just, like, going from town to town, and they'll see, like, aqueducts, and be like, people did that? You sure giants didn't do that? And just how... I know this from, like, art history, that when they're building these cathedrals, and especially, like, the high ceilings, it's meant to, like, evoke emotion in you, and it's supposed to, like, inspire, like, the vault of heaven, and... all the light and high ceilings is supposed to be like a celestial, like a religious place, an awe-inspiring place that you're supposed to feel very small in the presence of something very big. Like, that's a very constant theme. And how if that's like the cathedrals that we were seeing and the Parthenon in Rome and all these different things, one after another, just it's that meme of like a single Dorito has enough flavor to blow the mind of a medieval person. Similar to that, of just like, yeah, there's rich people living in these cities having a good time, but that's not most people. Most people are out in the fields, hand to mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And if they just happen to come into a city for whatever reason, I get the awe-inspiring of it. And there's something I was trying to ask Jared, like, did you feel anything like being in the presence of these enormous efforts of, like, who knows how many people died? Right. But that aside, like, these thousands, tens of thousands of hands over, like, some of these projects were decades long.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did it stir anything in you, like, being so small in the presence of such enormity and effort? He's like, oh, kind of. And I live for that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, gotta go out and get out and see the world more.
Oh, but I'm looking at train trips. River cruises is something I might be into.
I've also been looking into some river cruises.
Yeah.
I've seen that there's some really good ones in Germany, actually. Yeah, I found the way too late after we were talking about trains.
The most cruises, the one Jared was on, the one that Ash and I have been on, are enormous megastructures on water.
Mm-hmm.
And you're however many feet in the air when you're just on the observation decks and all that. But the river cruises are very close to the water, and you can see things just like flying by you, basically.
Right.
At a river cruise speed. But it's more intimate? I don't know.
It is quite a bit more intimate. There's nowhere near as many, like, amenities or, like, restaurants or shops or anything like that on the boat. Like, there might be a restaurant on the boat,
mm-hmm.
on some of them, but still, yeah, it looks. Where have you been looking at river cruises?
The Rhine one.
Okay.
Yeah. Since Abby
mm-hmm.
came and talked about their time.
Yeah, man.
Get some Viking river cruises. You never hear about like river cruises up the Mississippi or the Missouri or anything.
I bet that would be ugly as hell.
I'd still do it. On account of American history.
I mean, I'd do it depending on how expensive it was. I wouldn't pay like $2,000 to go down the Mississippi. But
mm-hmm.
if I go, give you $500.
Haggle them. Did you have anything else to talk about?
Not really. I mean, yesterday Michigan lost to number 1 Oregon, which wasn't a surprise at all. I mean, it was a surprise that we actually were in the game for a little bit, so that was cool. But otherwise, we fell back last night. Got the extra hour,
mm-hmm.
which helped because I ended up going to bed later than I normally do. But I woke up. With the time change, I still woke up a little later than normal, but only by like 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, at this point in my life, like, my body just, like, I can't just, like, go back to sleep if I just want to. Like,
mm-hmm.
if I want to get extra sleep. It's like, no, my body's like, you're getting up. It's time. You've been in bed long enough.
Hmm.
So, which I kind of wanted to sleep in a little longer today, but, I mean, I get to, like, in bed, and, like, I'm tired, and, like, I want to fall back asleep, and I'm like, well, is another hour of sleep really going to do anything for you?
I wear a Whoop, and it scores your sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And if I wake up early and am awake long enough that it says,
hey, you got this many hours of sleep, this many hours of restorative sleep. That all comes out to a sleep score of like 67%. If I go back to sleep after that, it always goes up. And it might not go from like 67 to 97, but it might go from like 67 to like 75.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd be real afraid to wear a Whoop and have it tell me how long I sleep.
Yeah.
It's probably like, you get 1 hour of restful sleep at night.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, that probably not too wrong. I don't feel too bad really ever. Unless I'm just like hungover or something, but I never feel like that tired. I know getting a CPAP those years ago has definitely changed the game for me in my sleeping. So.
For the better.
Oh yeah.
Good.
1000%. Actually, I've been putting it off, but I got a referral to a new sleep doctor so I could get a new machine because my machine's past due for getting a new one. But I've been lazy. I'd do that this week. Get that scheduled. But yeah, that pretty much brings us to this morning. Now, just over an hour and a half away from the footballs starting.
Yeah. Ashley's awake.
Oh, snap. I'm glad she didn't burn the house down with her asleep in it.
Yeah. Which, again, you saw how far away the smoker is from the house.
These are all jokes. Nathan is not putting anyone in danger. I am just razzing him a bit, but yeah. I honestly, I kind of want to get a trigger now because like I want to smoke so much more meat, but just the manual smoking is as much as I prefer the results from it. It's just it's so much work. But we are about getting to the time where it's not too hot to actually spend a lot of time outside with the smoker.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've even opened it. I hope it's okay. I know there's rats of, I don't know if they're still there, but for a while they were living in our gas grill.
Ugh.
I saw one like scurry up into it one day, and then like a day later, I like bumped it a little to see if anyone would run out, and then I opened it just to see what was inside. Bottom's covered in rat poop.
Chris.
Yeah, so we haven't used that grill in a while.
We've had our wires chewed on by rats or squirrels or whatever, but they've never found poop inside. But then one thing I always do is I'll set it to like 350 and just let it run for 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah. But
Alright, well, I'm going to say my election anxiety has been doing a number on me. I hear it every which way that it's in the bag for one or the other, and that nobody needs to worry depending on which of those sides you're on. But myself and most of the people that I respect and agree with are like, it's 50-50, anything could happen.
right.
And yeah.
That's how I feel right now.
Yeah.
The music. I mean, I'm right there with you. My anxiety has been through the roof. I'm trying to just like not think about it because it doesn't help anything. It won't change anything. But yeah, I go through waves of excitement, waves of absolute terror, and yeah, at this point I just want to get it over with. So yeah, but we don't have too much longer to go now. It'll be, well, we won't know anything probably until the earliest sometime on Wednesday, but I'm guessing probably more towards Friday.
I think we might know at like midnight Tuesday. but more likely like 2 a.m. Wednesday. And I hope it doesn't go past that as far as like courts and contesting and all that. I think it's ridiculous Pennsylvania doesn't open and start counting their early ballots until after the general, because they know that it causes confusion, and they know that it is fodder for folks to say like votes are changed overnight. There's ballot dumps. Like, they saw that happen. They saw those claims made and they didn't change anything. But whatever. Thank you, Pennsylvania. I can't talk. Texas is Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I don't even know what to say about it at this point.
I could spell out a case for either side to have a lot of confidence.
Did you see Kamala on SNL yesterday?
Yeah, I saw the intro.
I mean, that's all I saw. Thought that was pretty funny.
Adorable. Yeah. Silly.
Oh, man.
Kelly, I've probably seen whatever you ask if I've seen it.
I know. But we're just talking here.
I had some... Sometimes I'll think some stuff to myself and I'll put it in my notes, but it will not elaborate enough. And then when I come to my notes for this show, I'll read it and be like, that's too heavy. It's too dark. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, I'm usually the opposite. If I do make any notes, I usually go back and I read them like while we're doing this, and I'm like, that's just too dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it has no bearing on anything. Like, I have one thing in my notes right now that I could bring up, but it's just silly. Silly stuff.
My top line note is the idea that you could do nothing, the idea you have no responsibility, is an illusion.
Are you dumb, stupid, or dumb? Huh?
Yeah.
I'll expand on that at a later date, I guess.
All right.
That's it.
Yeah. So, we done?
I think so.
Okie doke. Well, if you made it to the end, you know the drill. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, tell your friends. And I think next week's might be a little bit more interesting of a podcast than this one. So
Yep.
we'll see you when we get there.
103rd episode will be next week, or it won't.
Love y'all. Peace.
Bye.